Alrighty, so Politicon did happen over the weekend. So we are going to be delving into some of the video footage from the different debates and the different panel discussions that happened over at Politicon over this weekend. Now, this one that we're going to be looking at, this panel, it is the What Now Liberals panel. It has Kyle, and I don't know who Sally Cohn is on it, and then there is Marcos Mulitsas, who's the founder of Daily Kos. And I don't know who the other two women are, but basically this panel is about where the liberals go from here, because it's sort of like a, where the Democrats go from here panel, where it's like, we need to figure out how to defeat Donald Trump and how to win seats back. That's essentially what it is. So what we're going to be looking at here, we're going to be looking at two different clips. This first one is going to be, it's a Jesse Lee Peterson fan. Well, actually, no, he's not a fan. He works for him. He's an employee for Jesse Lee Peterson. Now, he's going to talk about how Ann Coulter backed out, and he thought that was a very weak move on her part, to which, of course, Kyle agrees. And then he's going to think that he owned Kyle. Check this out.
Go ahead. Sir.
Kyle, I've heard that you were willing to debate Ann Coulter. You were all excited, and then she backed out.
Yeah.
That's lame, but I work for Jesse Lee Peterson, and I've tried to get you on his show like 5 times. Sally did it. She had a great time.
You do this every year, man. All right, let's ask a question.
Would you be willing to debate her?
Not only that, I floated a debate with him when Ann Coulter backed out, and he said no.
Oh my God, that was a gem of a clip, dude. That dude thought he had him. He was like, "Yo, dog, I tried to get you on the show 5 times, Jesse Lee Peterson show 5 different times." He's basically trying to insinuate that he's a hypocrite, and you called out Ann Coulter for backing out because it was a weak move that she did. But we tried getting you on the JLP show, and you didn't come on. And this guy's a troll, by the way, too. He's a trolly dude. Like, he goes and asks some dumb question afterwards. He's a douche. But anyways, like, he thinks he had him, and then Kyle hits him with and we covered this too. I mean, he was like, one of the 3 options I was given by Politicon was David Frum, Michael Steele, and Jesse Lee Peterson. And I was a big advocate of that debate because Jesse Lee Peterson is the biggest clown on the planet Earth. He is the dumbest person I've ever seen in my entire life. And he is comedic inadvertently. He is a comedian, but not on purpose. He is funny. He provides humor, but not on purpose. And so this dude who literally works for Jesse Lee Peterson thinks that he has Kyle. He thinks he owned him. But instead, oh man, I can't even. Can you imagine how embarrassing that has to be? Because the crowd just freaking like goes crazy. Because that was just like one of the dude. You just got your cheeks handed to you on a platter, bro. That's so embarrassing. But how you not finna know that, though, dog? Like, come on, G. Like, oh, man, you came so unprepared. That was so cringy on his part. Holy guacamole. Remember, that's the phrase that is required. Holy guacamole. That was bad. But I thought you guys enjoyed that clip. That was pretty cool. But after that, now we're going to be looking at this some of the panel. So in this clip, what we're going to be looking at is basically it's going to be Kyle speaking about where the Democratic Party should go, and then some Bernie supporters are going to get pissed off for reasonable reasons. And one of the people on the panel, the one who is sitting to our left but to Kyle's right, I don't know her name, but she is going to be the identity politics player, and it is going to be very cringy. Check it out.
For the ordinary set of circumstances, the economy is doing well, unemployment is significantly low. Most presidents would love to have an environment like this. Why is this not working for Trump?
I'm not so sure it's not going to work for Trump. I think,
Really?
I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. kidding when I say I think that Donald Trump is probably the greatest con man of all time. And I'm sure that he's the greatest fake populist of all time. Unemployment's low, the economy's doing well. Actually, no, it's not. Just because the unemployment rate is low does not mean that wages are going up. In fact, wages are falling. So, Democrats, every single step of the way, have underestimated Donald Trump, and they never learned their lesson. So, it's really, it's scary to me, because you would think that, in all seriousness, if the Democratic strategists were doing their job properly, this wouldn't even be a conversation for the midterm. We would know it would be a blue wave. Unfortunately, I think Democrats are, they go all in on Russia and the Mueller investigation. Go talk to somebody in the middle of the country. They're more like, I don't know, kind of want to pay my light bill and put food on the table. That's more important than the Mueller investigation. So I think Democrats going all in on the wrong things, and Donald Trump going around the country doing all of these rallies. I think every other president from here on out should steal that and go do rallies while they're in office, because that's a way to speak directly to the people. And when you do that, it actually works in the sense that, he gets to scream fake news all day, and he's going to make his case better than anybody else. So as long as he keeps making his case, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because I don't know what's going to happen in these midterms. I think that Democrats probably will pick up seats, but not as much as everybody's predicting, because I just think he does a good job of doing what he's supposed to do, even though I despise him.
So sad.
Security, right? He's bought by the Russians. Used to be family values. Like the most morally degenerate asshole in America.
And the deficit, don't forget the deficit.
Sorry, deficit. So that was the party message. He came in, he said, I'm the message. We're going to have somebody who's going to end up as our nominee, whether it's Elizabeth Warren, whether it's Kamala Harris, I'm going to be one of those. Bernie Sanders. For this primary field, it's going to be Medicare for all. Good. It's going to be affordable college.
Can I want to go and actually respond to the audience. Bernie Sanders lost the primary by 4 million votes, and most of that a lot of people still support Bernie Sanders, and some of the policies that he laid out, he did not win the primary. You cannot take away my point of view without yelling over me, okay? What I'm saying is that rehashing that is counterproductive. There are children in cages, and if you guys are really progressive, we can work together to try to get this fucker out of the White House.
So we obviously see that there are some slight differences within the party as far as how to tackle Trump. Could that be something that played to Trump's favor as far as winning the election?
Absolutely, we eat our own. And we shouldn't do that.
If the base ends up shouting down women of color because
that's
they
a problem.
need to
I have a
win
problem
more than
with
they need
that.
to be supportive, that will ultimately be a problem for the Democratic Party, yes.
Can I just jump in real quick?
That's a
Okay.
really good way to get votes.
The only point I want to make is that I think the audience believes, and I happen to agree with them, that the best way to defeat Donald Trump in the year 2020 is with Bernie Sanders as
show up and vote for him. That is just absolutely true. That's just math. You don't necessarily have to like me or agree with me, but that is just an electoral truth.
So let me. So since
Yeah, so the people on this panel are really, really cringy. If you were able to make it through that whole panel debate, which I wasn't, you really do deserve a prize. You deserve some kind of prize money. You deserve some kind of a reward because, you sacrifice so much to go through that nonsense. But what I felt like was, and by the way, I didn't know Sally Cohn voted for Bernie Sanders. I was actually surprised by that. I didn't know that for some reason. But anyways, what I'm trying to get to here is that this panel, it has Kyle and then the representation of the Hillary wing of the left that makes people look at the Democratic Party like it's a bunch of stupid people. It makes people look at the Democratic Party as like, wow, you guys are clowns. Why would I ever vote for you clowns? And these are the people that repel people from the party. These are the people who are exhibiting cringe due to what they're seeing right now. I mean, Marco's basically he doesn't mention Bernie Sanders, and then the crowd just completely destroys him, just goes at him, just calls him out. And I'm surprised by that because he was actually a Bernie supporter during the primary. I'm 99.99 repeating percent sure that he was, and so I was surprised by that. And then the woman who was to Kyle's right basically said, Bernie Sanders lost by 4 million votes. Now, of course, she did not explain that the DNC had actually rigged the election against him, that there are multiple things that went into that, because the question as to whether or not he would have honestly won, even if it wasn't rigged, I still think he wouldn't have won, because the southern states were the first. And for whatever reason, the African American voting base decided that it was better to vote in someone who was a Goldwater girl, while Bernie Sanders actually marched with Martin Luther King Jr. And that is just where it becomes an issue on the part of the voters. It's like you're not acting rationally. You're not acting in your best interest, because Bernie Sanders cares a hell of a lot more. He was the only one on the campaign trail to actually name the names of the people who, the list of names for Black Lives Matter. So it's like, okay. And I think Hillary put him in a box or something like that. It's insanity, man. I mean, it's pure insanity. So she doesn't mention that the DNC cheated. And on top of that, I mean, again, he got his clock cleaned in the southern states, which is not his fault, because again, it's like, you take these two options, you're talking about literally a guy who marched with that's insane. You have the opportunity to vote for a man who marched the I Have a Dream. During the I Have a Dream speech, he went to jail. Holy guacamole. African American people should be like, damn, I want to vote for that dude right now. But instead, they went for Hillary Clinton for whatever cockamamie reason that maybe. I don't know what the hell that was. And then the woman to her right says, the Democratic Party is really going to have problems if, the base doesn't vote for women of color. And it's like, oh my goodness gracious, this has nothing to do with gender or has to do with skin color or race. It doesn't have anything to do with any of that stuff. Please, good God. I hate talking about this because it's so frustrating and has been beaten like a dead horse. But these morons continue to spit this complete nonsense. It pisses me off because it's stupid. And it's just so, oh my God, it's frustrating. It's like, come on, dude. Are you kidding me? This has nothing to do with gender. I mean, Nina Turner is better than Joe Biden. Nina Turner is better than a bunch of, the problem with that statement in the first place, though, is that it means that I'm essentially entertaining and treating it as a legitimate argument, which is not a legitimate argument. It's complete BS. It's lies, smears. I hate it so much. It's so painful. And the massive irony that exists amongst that statement is, of course, that how can you get pissed off at the Democratic base when the Democratic base is the one who's being snubbed by the candidates themselves? So it's like Hillary Clinton, their campaign goes, it's okay because we're going to pick up 2 moderate conservative voters for every Bernie supporter we lost. How'd that work out for you? It doesn't work well, because when you don't make an attempt to appeal to your base, what the hell do you think is going to happen? You complete dumb fucks. I don't even know what kind of like insanity do you have to be exhibiting to believe that. It's so painfully stupid. I mean, what a great reach out to the progressive base of the Democratic Party was having Tim Kaine, the human embodiment and the human representation and the personification of Raisin Bran, as your goddamn VP, when you could have appointed Bernie Sanders if you wanted to. It wouldn't have happened, obviously, because they don't agree. But even if she had appointed Elizabeth Warren, I'm sure she would have done well. But even that in the first place is also, again, sort of a faulty premise anyways, because as we know, the amount of the percentage of Bernie supporters who actually went for Trump was far less than the percentage of Hillary voters who voted for McCain in 2008. So keep that in mind too. Just keep that in mind too. But again, last thing to reiterate, man, if you guys were able to make it through this entire panel, you may be immune to cancer.